Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Cyrus and this is Tunum Network in Accra, Ghana. Do us a favor, folks. If today is your first time with us, kindly subscribe and share the link when you find us credible. Thank you so much. Today's video is about my home country, Ghana, and the state of a very important road which is under construction that has for nearly 2 decades been a curse to the lives of many people in my country. I know many will not like my choice of words, but if you watch till the very end, I promise you'll come to the same conclusion. So without further ado, let's get into the topic. This is the Accra-Kumasi Road. It's called the N6. It's 160 kilometers on the main carriageway with 45 kilometers of dual bypasses altogether, making it 205 kilometers of roads to be constructed when completed. This is the road that connects the capital city of Ghana, which is Accra, to the second biggest city in Ghana, which is Kumasi. It is the same road that connects the southern part of Ghana to the northern part of the same country. This is what all the heavy-duty cargoes uses, ladies and gentlemen, from Accra Port to Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso. It is an extremely important and busy road. In December of 2008, when the administration at the time was about to leave office, that was when they considered constructing this road. And this is a typical political tactic in Ghana. When a government has 8 years to deliver a service or on a project for the people, they wait till when they are just about to leave office and then they begin that project, hoping that the people will consider the continuity of that project and retain them or their government in office. It doesn't work and they never learn from it, ladies and gentlemen. Former President John Kufuor started it in 2008. And his party lost the elections in the same year. It continued for a while under the new administration, and by 2013, construction had halted due to funding issues and unpaid contractors' debts. Ladies and gentlemen, activities resumed after clearing outstanding payments in 2014, and full acceleration of the project took off again under President Akufo-Addo. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the current state of the highway I'm talking about after 17 years of construction. Such an essential road network that was supposed to be completed in 4 years has taken us 17 years and still counting, and we are still nowhere close to completion. And here is what has happened in that period of construction. Continuous air pollution, hours of time wasting, breakdown of cars, innumerable number of road accidents and deaths, periodic floodings, and the overall discomfort of using that road. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Road Safety Authority, NRSA of Ghana, disclosed that approximately 1,237 people died from road accidents or crashes between January to June of 2024. As a matter of fact, this is the breakdown of the totality of accidents on Ghana's roads in general. Total number of deaths, 1,237 from January to June of 2024. 7,561 injuries recorded in road crashes in that same time, all in 6 months. It is therefore estimated that more than 2,000 deaths happened on Ghana's roads just last year. The causes of these road deaths and accidents are attributed to bad road conditions and then the indiscipline of road users, many of which happened on the N6. This is the most traveled road in Ghana, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to regional movement and goods distribution. And for 17 years, we are unable to complete it. Politicians watch on as lives of thousands are taken every year. Governments in and out have played politics with it even till today. And as it stands now, very little activity is ongoing. In order for you to understand what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, just pass by that road any time in the day and see for yourself how few the numbers of workers are scattered on that site working. There is no sense of urgency attached to this essential road because most of the politicians do not actually use it. And when they choose to use it, they move with their motorcades in large SUVs that clears the roads for them to move quickly on that road. Usually, when they have to travel on that road, they go by the air and their motorcades meets them at their destination. And it's not just the politicians, but many of the elites in our country. They move that way now. It is the regular local people, the public transport system, including civil servants and motor riders or bikers, who have to endure this problem day in and out. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how our successive government have sought to fund this project. A portion of the road was to be funded by a Chinese interest-free loan. Second source was a proposed public-private partnership to fund the other portions of the road and toll it, which never materialized. A third source of funding was from an Afri-Exim Bank loan. Fourth source of funding from domestic budget allocations, and fifth from a Kuwait fund loan. Ladies and gentlemen, the over 200 kilometers of essential and transnational road network was predominantly planned on the back of loans. And this has been my issue with the leadership of this country, no matter their political color. This is the country that lives on loans, ladies and gentlemen. But how did we get here as a nation, where we plan to embark on a project with no readily available funding or source of funding from ourselves, but from loans? Because all around the country, every major project appears to be either fully funded by loan or almost fully funded by some loan. This is what makes a country sell their sovereignty to all these foreign entities. You are always chasing them for loans, and then they begin to make demands on your country. Ladies and gentlemen, when will a mineral-rich country like Ghana handle its own internal business without the need for loans? I say this because 3 challenges have been the reasons why this project isn't moving forward. Number 1 is funding. Number 2 is funding. And number 3 is a lack of commitment from leadership to complete it. Even when funding is made available and leadership isn't committed to seeing it through, ladies and gentlemen, it's easy that it ends up in doing something else. I keep talking about state enterprises as the main source of creating wealth in Africa, and nobody seems to be listening except for our captain, ladies and gentlemen. This is why Captain Traore is being talked about globally, and you guys are not. The policies you are running isn't revolutionary and does not predict success on any level, and you won't change. If the government of the day isn't practically involved in a business that generates income for the state, ladies and gentlemen, the only options left will be 2, and that will be taxes and loans. And no country has ever developed on these 2 fronts. This major road needs a consistent injection of funds to complete in projected times, and that could have been made possible if we had a production line set up for it. If we had a gold mining company working for the state, for instance, the profit from that enterprise could be directed to such projects, so we don't have to beg any country for help, but we don't. This is the same challenge happening with the construction of hospitals and other essential state facilities, ladies and gentlemen. And so, what happens is this. We daydream of mega project with someone else's money. Who does this? You are dreaming with somebody's money. A government was proposing sky trains and subways, but with whose money? Can't you see where the direction of the world is heading, ladies and gentlemen? You can't depend on anyone anymore, not especially when you are an African. You need to make a conscientious decision of figuring things out on your own. If we don't address this and other essential projects in Ghana now, it will take the next 10 years to complete this particular one. We have a golden opportunity to nationalize many parts of our country's industry to expedite development. We need to nationalize our construction industry, especially. We have to stop giving out contracts to contractors, ladies and gentlemen, and set up a government-owned construction company and to take care of our constructions, all of our roads, hospitals, and schools, and everything that has to do with construction. We have to be deliberate about this. This will help us train the professionals we need to continue running our country and build our nation. We need to think of domesticating our industries, ladies and gentlemen. We need government intervention and competition to bring out the very best in our country. The private sector cannot be the main engine to our nation's development. No country in the world, apart from the US, went that route and developed. And it took the US nearly 200 years to be developed. But we can learn from the Asians. The Asian countries have made it. Their government led the way and the private sectors joined in. We need to internalize our expenditure and at the same time train our people to develop our country. The Chinese government buys from the Chinese government to build the country. That is how they keep the money in. That's how we need to set up. The N6 from Accra to Kumasi can be completed in 2 years if the necessary financial and urgency is attached to it. We can do it, ladies and gentlemen, on our own when we put our minds to it. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for taking time to watch this video, and hope you share this to as many Ghanaians as possible. One day at a time, ladies and gentlemen, and one day our voice will reach every corner of this great continent. God bless you, folks, and I'll come your way with another one. Remember to subscribe and click on the notification bell for more of my videos. I'm out for now. It is bye-bye.